Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cardiovascular Perfusion Information Session. My name is Erin Ruggieri, and I'm one of the marketing coordinators at BCIT with School of Health Sciences. And our presentation today will be from Robin Wolf, our program head for Perfusion. And we'll also have some Q&A with Suki, our program advisor. I'm going to start with our land acknowledgement. And the British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam. So our agenda today is a welcome and introduction, presentation and program overview, some program advising information, and a Q&A at the end. Now you're welcome to put questions and comments in the chat throughout the session, but we will be addressing most of those in the Q&A at the end. So it might be a good idea to just watch the whole presentation and hopefully some of your questions will get answered as we go along. So with that, I'm going to introduce Robin Wolf, our program head for Perfusion. Robin, did you want to say anything before we start your poll?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Thanks, Erin. I am the program head for the Perfusion program. I've been in this role for just about 7 years now. I'm not actually a perfusionist myself. However, so I can't really actually answer any questions that are great clinical detail. However, I do have a good understanding of the profession, and I've seen a number of applicants to this program, as well as students that have gone through this program and have graduated to go on to be successful perfusionists out in the stratosphere. So, but before we get started with the presentation, Erin, if you wanted to put up a poll question, that would be great. So question is, how many perfusionists are there in Canada? Erin, I can't see if people are answering.
People are. I'm just going to end it there, and then I share the results, and then everyone should be able to see it now.
Oh, great. Correct. 300 perfusions, approximately 300 perfusionists in Canada. So looks like the majority of people got that. So well done. So cardiovascular perfusion is the mechanical support of the heart and lungs while the heart is stopped during open heart bypass surgery. The perfusionist role is to operate the heart-lung machine, as you can see on the slide there. During the bypass surgery, they monitor the patient's blood flow and vital signs during the case, as well as administer various blood products and drugs through the machine and into the patient. In addition to the heart-lung machine, perfusionists are specialists in other life-saving equipment, such as ECMO machines, ventricular assist devices, and intra-aortic balloon pumps. Next slide, please. So perfusionists are members of the acute cardiac team, and they have quite a bit of autonomy in their job. As such, candidates interested in entering the profession need to be prepared to deliver acute level care to patients. They must be able to perform at a high level in stressful situations, be willing to work extended hours in the day, as well as be on call a few times a month. To enter the profession, you do need a bachelor's degree, preferably in the human sciences. We'll get into more details about our entry requirements in a few slides later on, but we do have 2 option areas, and one of those option areas is you can apply as either a respiratory therapist or a critical care RN. And by critical care, we are referring to the ICU, CCU, or cardiac surgery, or the emergency department. Next slide, please, Erin. So BCIT Perfusion is a 2-year advanced certificate program. The first year consists of didactic courses that are online, and as well as in that first year, students are required to attend 2 one-week labs here at the BCIT campus. During that first year, their didactic courses, students take 3 courses per term. And although it's only 3 courses, those courses are actually very heavy, and it's expected that students will be dedicating a fair amount of time during the week to studying and to online discussions, as well as case study reviews. The second year is full-time, and it consists of multiple weeks of lab and clinical rotations at hospitals across Western Canada. This program is very demanding, and it's expected that students dedicate 100% of their time to developing their knowledge, understanding, and hands-on skills. Next slide, please, Erin. So students that graduate from BCIT Perfusion are eligible to work in Canada, the United States, and many countries abroad. We have grads that are working all across Canada, in the United States, as well as in Australia. In this province, Perfusion's starting wage is approximately $50 an hour, slightly above minimum wage. And the profession itself is, pardon me, I lost my report. So yeah, the profession as well, as you noticed in the poll question, is quite small for this country. And there are less than 40 hospitals in the country that actually employ perfusionists. And those hospitals are located primarily in areas with dense population. If you are interested in learning more about the profession, I encourage you to visit the Canadian Society of Clinical Perfusionists, and the website address is here on the slide right here. I think this is yours, Erin.
Yes, I just wanted to read this testimonial from one of our previous students and now alum, Michael. Michael says, BCIT Perfusion gave me the expert knowledge and hands-on experience necessary to thrive in the fast-paced and high-stress environment of cardiac surgery, organ transplantation, and critical care. Such as a nice little testimonial there. Get my mouse back to the right spot here. Robin, you can take this part.
Yeah, so all these are listed on our website under program entry, but just to talk broadly about these. So there are specific requirements in order to be eligible to be accepted in this program. First one is the general English requirements, and those are pretty standard across all the School of Health programs. And you can see more details about those on our website. The other entry requirement is a bachelor's degree, and as I mentioned earlier, we prefer the human health sciences area if possible. Also, a requirement is a statistics course. Now, there is a course listed on our website, Card 1187, Introductory Statistics for Health, but that you can choose to take that course, or if you have an equivalent course that you would like to submit, that's fine too. And as I mentioned earlier, there are two option areas. The first option area is the respiratory therapist and critical care RN. And you have to have at least 2 years working experience, and that needs to be confirmed by a letter from the employer. The other option area to enter is to come in with a bachelor's degree, plus a list of courses that we have on our websites. And first is 6 credits of 100 at 100 or level or greater of chemistry, credits of 100 level or greater in physics, as well as an anatomy and physiology course, which is again on the website. We have an equivalency to that. Medical terminology and patient care experience or a patient care course. Once you meet those requirements, you also need to complete a CASPER assessment. And many of the health sciences programs at BCIT are using CASPER. And there's on our website in the program entry page, there's a link to that, but that does a requirement for application. As well as there's a list of forms that are on our website that do need to be submitted as well with your application. And one of those is the applicant questionnaire. And we read those very carefully. So if you are interested in applying, I encourage you to really put a lot of thought and time into putting together a well-written questionnaire. That's next slide, please. So the application period for the September 2022 intake is open now. and that goes through till February 28th of next year. I highly encourage applicants to apply as soon as possible. And it doesn't mean you have to have all your requirements completed or all the forms filled out, but get your application started as soon as you can. The reason for that is that way our admissions representative can review your application form and let you know if they have any missing criteria or things that you need to submit to ensure that you are considered a complete applicant. If you leave it too far to the end, closer to February 28th, and you're missing some pieces, then we can't evaluate you further. Like the 28th is the absolute deadline. So you are strongly encouraged to apply earlier. And it doesn't, if you don't have all your requirements done and you're deemed incomplete initially, it doesn't affect your application. Like we don't just not look at you going forward. We basically go right to the 28th, and if you can get everything that's required in by then we will review your application. And just some qualities to a successful applicant to this program in the profession: strong communication skills. This goes across the board for all health professions, I believe, but especially so in perfusion, because they do work as in a high acuity team, and communication is utterly important in the role. You have to be analytical. You be able to break down small or big problems into small pieces. Decision-making skills, problem-solving skills are critical. Perfusionists, like I said, are very autonomous in their role, so they often are left to sort problems out during open heart surgery. You need to pay close attention to detail and need to work well within a team. Healthcare is a team environment, and especially in cardiac surgery, those are really critical skills. I think this is your Erin.
Unmute myself. So we just wanted to talk a bit about the application process, what happens once you've submitted your application. So you would review the entrance requirements and application processing dates, do any upgrading courses if you need to, get all your documents together, make sure those are converted to PDF files, and then apply online. But on the other end, after you apply, just so you know what's going on, the admissions department reviews all the online applications, and then the faculty review the applications and shortlist the candidates. So anybody who's not shortlisted, admissions will send out non-accept letters. And once we go through step 2 testing, our program head emails candidates that are selected to entry, and then admissions sends out the final acceptance letters. So that whole process can take a bit. Don't expect to hear the day after February 28th if you've gotten in or not. Please do give us, I think it's normally about 4 to 6 weeks for most of our programs. And next, I just wanted to talk about some of the supports that exist here at BCIT for students. So once you successfully get into the program, just so you are aware of what we have at BCIT, first on this list here is accessibility services. And BCIT is committed to providing assistance to students with permanent or temporary disabilities. So if you've been accepted into a program and believe you may need some accommodation to be successful, please connect with accessibility services. We also have counseling and student development, and they're available to help enhance your educational performance and maximize your success as a student at BCIT. Over the pandemic, they've been offering phone and virtual appointments, but I'm thinking they must be coming into in-person soon. Fingers crossed. If you're of an Indigenous background, BCIT Indigenous Initiatives is here for you to ensure a smooth transition into your studies. They offer peer-to-peer mentorship, a welcoming gathering place, and they provide clarification on Indigenous funding options. BCIT Student Health Services is a full-service health clinic on campus, and it's open year-round. And currently, they've also been doing phone and virtual appointments, but hopefully in person soon. Student financial aid and awards. If you're interested in some scholarships or bursaries or financial aid, I suggest you Google BCIT Student Financial Aid, and they'll be able to connect you with some services provided there. Rec services, we have a full service gym here on campus available for use by students and staff, and it's great. We've been doing virtual workouts and esports leagues over the pandemic, and we've now reopened to in-person activities. So the full gym is back open again, and we're doing classes again. So we're really glad that's back open. Also, program advising. So they're a great resource at BCIT. So if you have any questions about the program itself, the curriculum, Robin is definitely your go-to person. But if you have any questions about your application, how to make your application as competitive as you can, how to make sure that you have the right courses completed, program advising is the ones you want to contact. If you're also not sure, you're trying to decide between two different programs, program advising is also who you'd want to talk to. So they have full-time studies telephone advising, they have virtual drop-ins, they have on-campus sessions, and they have an email address that's at the bottom of the screen there. So please don't hesitate to give them a call and make use of that resource. I also wanted to mention some of the ways to connect with us. School of Health Sciences at BCIT is quite active on social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and we'd love for you to follow and connect with us. And we like to share news around campus, student stories, alum stories, things that are new and going on with new projects. Definitely, we're getting a new building on campus next spring, so we talk about that a bunch on social media as well. So please do check us out online. And now I think we'll go to the questions and answers section. So Darren's been putting some links into the chat while I talked about all of that. But if you have some questions now, would be a great time to put those into the chat. So if anyone can come up with anything they'd like to ask us about the program or about BCIT, we'd be happy to answer. And it is a small group, so I think if you want to unmute at some point, you can too. But first, I'm going to ask one question. We have an international medical graduate who got their degree in China. Can she use her bachelor's degree to apply for this program? And she's done a WES verification of her courses. I don't know if this is a Suki question.
So I think it might be both Robin and I. In terms of the report, yes, you can use a WES report so long as it is a comprehensive. So usually that'll outline every single course you completed in your program, and your grades will be converted to a Canadian standard. So that is acceptable. And then maybe Robin can address what type, because it depends what type of degree you have.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. We do accept the WS report, or in BCIT uses ICES, I believe, the International Credentialing Evaluation Service. So it does need to be the comprehensive report, as well as a person that has done their education abroad internationally. You would still need to apply under the option 2 candidacy. So you would need to demonstrate all those requirements I listed earlier, talked a little bit about earlier, as well as that are listed on our website.
I hope that helps there. Would you say being a cardiology technologist is a good background for this program?
Yeah, it helps. It definitely helps for option 2 candidates. We've had, we just had a student graduate this year, actually, that was a cardiology technologist. So it is possible. It is a very competitive program, I will say, for sure. And our option 2 candidates, now what I'm finding in the last few years, have been coming to the application process, I should say, with a fair amount of patient care experience, and having that patient care experience is either in cardiology technology, or say a sonographer, or an X-ray technology. Those are really valuable pieces. But yes, I would think cardiology is a good role, a good background to have in order to apply to this program.
Noah has a good question here. Is there a preference for either of the options for a greater chance of acceptance?
No, not necessarily. So I would say on average over the course of this whole program, or since its inception, I would say that it's probably, our acceptance is 70-30 approximately 70% option 1, 30% option 2, but we don't prioritize one over the other. We really just look at the quality of the applicant. So the program has become really, really competitive over the last number of years, and we're finding that people that come to us are really quite interested in entering the profession already. Are already RTs or nurses, but it doesn't necessarily mean we will select them over an option 1 or option 2 candidate. It really just depends on the quality of the applicant.
Okay, and we had another question here. What does relevant patient care look like for the undergraduate degree path?
Oh, so, well, I will say, I encourage everyone to go on the Perfusion website, the FAQ page, because we've addressed a lot of questions in that area, and it might help answer some questions you might have in the future. But for us, we're looking specifically at direct patient care experience, so hands-on patient care experience. Like I mentioned, someone that's already coming in with some allied health profession experience working directly with patient carers is very beneficial. So we're talking working with patients for like patient mobility, working, say, for example, in like having to apply sort of clean techniques, aseptic techniques, and that kind of thing, and also assessing patients' vital signs and what have you, is really what we're looking for. It's not to suggest that somebody that didn't have that experience would never get in. I will say we have actually 2 students that just started the program in September that did come in under option 2. They didn't have necessarily with patients, but more indirectly. They're actually work in the hospital setting, but in a research capacity. I think just what helped those 2 students stand out over, say, other students that had more patient care experience was that they just put a lot of thought and really researched what the role was of a perfusionist and put together applications that stood out from others. And then when we brought them in for the next level of assessments, they just performed really, really well. So it's not out of the question that someone that doesn't have patient care experience would never get into this program. Just there's a lot of people applying with patient care experience, which does actually makes you a stronger candidate for being successful in the program.
Okay, thanks. And Darren just put the link to the FAQ website up in the chat, and Suki put up a link as well. Sorry, I need to drink more water today. I have another question here from Lily. She's wondering how competitive an applicant would be that has a Bachelor of Arts, but also has experience as either a nurse or a respiratory therapist.
Oh yeah, I would say so, because in order to Bachelor of Arts, so if that helps you to get into your RT or your nursing program, you would have acquired those experiences, the coursework that would make you successful or help to make you successful in this program. So if you're working as an RT or a nurse, then you will have the sciences, human sciences background. So that would be fine.
Great. Any more questions? Good questions so far. I will let you all know that we will be sending you a copy of this PowerPoint slide deck, as well as a copy of the video recording that we're doing right now, so that if you do miss anything, or if you've missed anything throughout the presentation, you can review that later on your own time. We should be able to send out those emails towards the end of next week. We just have to do some organizing on the back end here once we've got all these recordings put together.
Noticing a question here. I'm not sure if it's showing up for you, Erin, but it says, would you touch base on the CASPR deadline? I'm not sure if I fully understand that question, other than they're on the CASPR website for the perfusion program. We have a list of, there are a list of dates that are eligible for this program. So you just need to submit your CASPR or apply. You need to attend one of the CASPR assessments on one of those dates. And there's a link from our website to the CASPR site to let you know.
And Robin, that would mean that CASPR needs to be done by the February 28th deadline as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Suki, do you have anything to add in?
I was just actually gonna check the dates for that because sometimes they will have dates just after the deadline date, but as long as it says, kind of like how Robin mentioned, if it's for that particular intake, for the fall 2022 intake, it would still work. But yeah, some programs will have that. I'm not quite certain if this one has any after February 28th, but I know like nursing and other programs, they'll have them like in November, even though their deadline is earlier.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know the dates off the top of my head right now, but I do encourage just go to the website and go to the link on the Casper site and select our program for perfusion, and it'll list the dates that for you, which ones are eligible.
Great. So if there aren't any more questions, I think we'll end it there. I really appreciate all of you taking the time out of your day to come and meet with us and watch our presentation. And I hope that we gave you some very useful information for your decision making going forward. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.